it's ESPN's top 100. And how people are responding to this, it's not, you know what? I've seen a lot of this, Donnie, where people are posting clips, posting screenshots of ESPN's top 100 list, and they're bemoaning how terrible it is and how bad ESPN is and how none of this makes any sense. And can you believe they put this player over that player? And what are they thinking? And bro, with a bunch of crying face emojis and all kinds of stuff that people are putting out there. And all I can think is ESPN is just smiling away, because that's exactly the whole point of a list like this. They publish their top 100 list. They want people to freak out. They want this kind of reaction to these lists. I don't know. Donnie, do you take any value when ESPN does? And there's other outlets that do it too. But when they do stuff like this?
I mean, peek behind the curtain, basically it's free promotion, right? If you take something that somebody else says or does and you just plaster it on all these different platforms, you're going to wind up promoting that person's content inadvertently. So like for them, they're purposely doing this so people get mad and get them trending and all this stuff. And then that just makes things better for them. So they'll deal with the rage if it means they get better numbers. And so to answer your question, no, I don't. I mean, setting aside the gaming of the system part of it, this type of stuff is always so subjective anyway. Like I don't really pay much attention to it for what anybody says in particular, what they think their top 10 is, unless there's something egregious, like I don't know, like it's just a random name. Let's say Chris Paul is in the top 10. Okay, well then sure. But other than that, I mean, it is what it is.
Somewhere in a deep, dark dungeon in NBA headquarters where Zach Lowe's body is still warm, they've got a padded room, soundproofed, set off to the side for Stephen A. Smith. Kendrick Perkins is down there signing his new contract, stepping over Zach Lowe to do it, apparently. And you've got a room full of writers in there, probably by candlelight, that are putting together this list. And then I just imagined they put together a real list, and then they just move a few. Just a few key ones, a few players, just flip-flop a few guys, put Anthony Davis back a few spots, make Lakers fans mad, move up Kevin Durant a little bit, move some players around enough to get people mad and outraged and all that. And it's funny when I see people going online so upset about this and carrying on this conversation. I think all they're doing is all that room full of ESPN folks that put this together, they're laughing their heads off, because this is exactly the point. The point is to get a reaction. And that's it. They want people to post it and go, can you believe this player is over this player? And then in the comments, everybody's going to say, no, he should be because blah, blah, blah. No, he shouldn't because of this, this, this. And usually it's not even that nuanced of a discourse, especially when we're getting into social media. But it always amazes me that lists like this get put out and people fall for it. And it's just a sign of where we're at in terms of sports media right now. It's about getting that crazy reaction, that can you believe they just did this? And yet people don't see through it. I don't get it, Donnie.
Yeah, you kind of talked about it very briefly there, but that also is why ESPN as a network has shifted focuses to somebody like Perkins, who gets aggregated all over the place for crazy things he says, and they're purposely leaning more into trying to get more rage bait out there, trying to get more just crazy takes, and that's what sports coverage has largely become on the internet over the last 5, 6, 7, 10 years or so. And so that being said, that's kind of why they're transitioning that way. And yeah, with a list like this, I mean, like I said, I don't really, because it's just, I can't get mad at it. Whether I know what they're trying to pull or not, I can't really get mad at it because people just have their own opinions. But I do think that they probably purposely just move players around, like you said. I mean, as watching the Lakers pretty consistently, it's pretty hard to say LeBron is, I think, 6 spots better than Anthony Davis. There were some advanced metrics that favor LeBron heavily on this team as the best player or the most important player. But there are also those that favor Anthony Davis, and the eye test and the roster construction will tell you it's Anthony Davis. But regardless, 6 spaces is kind of criminal. Both of these guys are right neck and neck, in my opinion, depending on how you look at it. So there's a number of different things. Like I also, like, just personally, I think he can be top 10 this year. I'm just not sure if Ant is 10 yet. I'm also not
Anthony
sure if
Edwards.
Wemby. Yeah, I'm also not sure if Wemby is better yet than Anthony Davis and Brunson too. It's just it's some projecting here, so I'm not really sure like what the goal is. Maybe that is maybe it is to project, but I think you could shuffle some of this stuff around. I don't like Embiid personally at like where is he at 8? I think he could go
8.
up higher than that. I think you could probably make an argument for a lot of this just list overall. But again, my opinion. Maybe people disagree and think I'm crazy for the things I've said, even in the last minute. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And there can be, look, I'm not mad at ESPN here. This is absolutely what they should be doing because they're going to get all that engagement. They're going to get people responding to it. And you're right. You could turn this into a nuanced conversation about a player and where their value comes from and everything. You just see a lot of it devolves into the basic, I can't believe they did this, bro. What's this all about?
Crazy.
You know, that kind of stuff. But yeah, this is, again, smart by ESPN. It's unfortunate in a way that this is what sports media has devolved into, that you get 60 seconds, say something that people will react strongly to one way or another. Either have people think you're the biggest idiot in the world or have people saying, yes, you're absolutely right. And ideally, have it be about 50-50 between those two things. If you could do that, you can get on to ESPN now at this point because that's what they want. That's what they want. They want that kind of a reaction, and that's it. That's what they're going for now. But again, this kind of stuff, super effective at getting that. And like I said, it still amazes me that that people just don't seem to see through and understand that when you react that way, that's exactly what they want. Now, again, you can get into a much more nuanced conversation here about these players and who should rank where and all of that. I think you're absolutely right on the AD and LeBron thing. They should be much, much closer, maybe even flip-flopped. And we could certainly have a full conversation about that.
I gotta hold your feet to the fire, Trev. I can't be
What's
the
that?
only one that goes off on a ledge here. You gotta make some arguments about this, just because I put myself out there. Make some arguments for some of these guys on this list. Do you like Embiid at 8? Do you like the number 1 selection? But just make a few comments. I gotta hear something.
I think that I would flip flop LeBron and AD. I think I would flip flop those two. I think Jason Tatum is getting credit for the Boston Celtics as a team being so good, just like when Marcus Smart won Defensive Player of the Year. He got credit for being on a really, really good defensive team. SGA, I have no problem with him being at 4. Giannis, you could argue, should be 1 or 2. And I'm not going to argue against the rating MVP being number 1, though. And Luka is going to be fantastic. What's that?
What about 10 and 11?
Anthony Edwards, I think it's too much too soon. I think it's hyping him. But again, this is ESPN. And look, clearly the NBA, they're pushing Anthony Edwards to be one of, if not their next big star, right? Wemby's being another one too. But Anthony Edwards being pushed as high as he is, he's also being featured on opening night against LeBron and the Lakers, which is one of the most guaranteed draws in terms of viewership. So it makes sense that there's this push to, hey, let's make sure that Anthony Edwards is in the spotlight. Who the hell knows, Donnie? Maybe when they first made this list, Anthony Edwards was like 15, 16, something like that. And then they went, well, but the NBA is pushing him. Let's slide him up a bit and we'll get a bunch of people pissed off and that'll benefit us in the long run. But yeah, I think it's a little bit too high. It's putting expectations too high on Anthony Edwards, who still has flaws in his game, despite being an incredibly, incredibly talented player.
I don't think that it's egregious to put him there by any means. I think it may be a year or two too soon. I think he could show that he's that this year. He could show that he's better than 10 this year because he has been on a rocket ascension. But I feel that same way about several of the young guys that are in that 10 to 20 range where it's like, So, but regardless, so that's the next phase. What I really like was that Luka is all the way up there 1 and 2 with Jokic. I thought that was fine. Giannis, I think, you could maybe make an argument for him either way. But I like the top 5 for the most part. I think last year they had Embiid at 5. They lowered him because of injuries. Okay, maybe. I think Tatum, like you said, I think Tatum is in that top 8. I just probably would have him and Embiid switch personally.
Is it any surprise it's Bontemps who wrote up the Tatum?
Stop. Stop.
He's got. I mean, when we want to talk East Coast bias, come on.
Yeah, I like Curry at 6. That's mostly fine.
Oh yeah. I mean, imagine the cackling that was echoing through ESPN's
Oh,
cavernous
yeah.
hallways when they slid Curry ahead of LeBron.
LeBron, yeah. They definitely did that on purpose. I don't
Uh-huh.
have any opinions on which
100%.
way, but they definitely did the Curry in front
They,
on purpose. So
uh-huh.
that's pretty bad when you say you could actually see Anthony Davis and LeBron switching and then Curry at 6. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I think about it in terms of importance to the team. Anthony Davis, you could put him
Yeah.
ahead, especially AD gets no love, though, from the voters for Defensive Player of the Year and all that. But anyway, everybody, let us know your thoughts. Is ESPN just masterful when it comes to rage baiting responses? And do you have a real and actually nuanced take beyond just laughing at the responses or the order for ESPN? Let us know in the comments. What do you think about the order of things here on ESPN's Top 100 list? All right.